Welcome back, darlings. In this week's video, I've got a hack for you, and it's a brilliant one. Mothers CMX 3-in-1 primer polish. So over the last year, I've been testing to see if this product degrades the ability for a ceramic coating to actually bond to the paint, or well, to this. And the reason I say it, because you don't panel wipe after this, you just buff it off, leave it to cure for a little bit, half an hour to an hour, and then you can coat on top. So says the instructions, although the instructions also don't really talk about the proper ceramic coating. I've given it a go, and over the last year I've documented most of the washes, which we can have a look at now.
Well, the first things first is we actually need to get the polish and the ceramic coating onto the paint. So there's the ceramic primer from CMX, well, from Mothers CMX 3-in-1, and I'm going to apply it via a DA, and this is the DA9 from Into Detailing, on a Shoal Concepts Purple Spider pad. Now that is about a medium cut pad. The reason I'm using that is the polish itself is more of a glaze, a bit like SRP perhaps, super resin polish, in the sense it doesn't have much cut, but it has a lot of fillers. In this case it's acrylic fillers, because those are what make the primer polish, and that's what the ceramic can bond to. So you're kind of spreading it rather than polishing, but if you use a medium pad you'll get a bit of cut. You'll do a much bigger area because you're spreading it out. It's more like double the size of the area you'd normally work in if you were actually polishing. And once you've applied it, you want to buff it off straight away. If you leave it too long, it will harden up and be a dog to remove. However, it's incredibly easy to remove if you do it straight away. And I left it about 15 minutes here before applying the Infinity Wax Synergy Lite. And the top half of the bonnet has the primer polish and the bottom half doesn't. I levelled that off, buffed it back, and then left it for a few weeks, in fact a few months. So we're going to get into the wash process now. And this isn't actually the first wash, but all the washes were done in the same way. I foamed on a strong high alkaline pre-wash. In this case, in this particular one, was Garage Therapy Snow V2. Let it dry for about 5 minutes. And then I pressure washed it off, and then I did a contact wash. So here we're seeing the results of the pre-wash rinse, and later we're going to see the results after the contact wash. I haven't got exactly the same footage every single time I've done this, and I haven't recorded every single wash, but you'll get the idea as we go along. Now, this was about 3 months after installation, so this was July, and the water behaviour was absolutely fine. Again, it should be, it's a ceramic. What we're looking for, though, is a uniform finish. So we don't want to see that the top half of the bonnet is behaving differently to the bottom half, because that's where the ceramic primer was, and really the test here is to see if it affects the ability for the ceramic to bond and therefore its longevity. Now it's even here, and that's what we want to see going forward. And if it doesn't end up like that, then we can prove that the primer hasn't worked and has impacted the ability of the coating to actually bond to the paint. The overall car before the polishing was done was deconned with fallout remover and water spot remover. So now we're just rinsing off after the contact wash, and we can see that the water behaviour is pretty uniform. I'm using the Nilfisk P200 here, so that's an incredibly powerful pressure washer. And yeah, it was working fine. Now this one here, I believe I'd foamed with Chemi Active Foam, which is a slightly milder pre-wash. And I was just interested to see. I threw lots of different pre-wash products at this because I wanted to see how it really held up. So I used Garage Therapy Snow V2, I used the Chemi Active Foam, I used Chemi VB once for a contactless wash. Didn't record that, but that's a stronger caustic pre-wash. And you can see it hasn't impacted the coating differently in the different areas. So we've still got a nice uniform finish here. And then that proves that the primer polish hasn't made a difference. This was this was the same one, but from a different angle. I realised this angle was really good, but I didn't use it for all of the footage I captured, so apologies for that, but I know for next time. Fast forward now to, I believe this one was actually New Year's Eve. What better to do? Get out and wash the car. It was pretty filthy at this point, actually, so it could have really done with it. And again, pre-wash rinsing down, you can really actually see that the hydrophobics are still there. I was surprised to an extent. I wasn't quite sure how long a lightweight ceramic would last. I don't do huge mileage. I probably do maybe 8,000 miles a year, and I wash the car on average once a month, which makes this next one even more special because this is actually 2 weeks later. The reason for that was this was during the cold snap, so there had been lots of salt on the road. I'd done quite a bit of motorway mileage, which was rare for me anyway, but I'd done quite a lot in a short space of time. The car was covered in grime from that. I'd been through some muddy areas, so everything was pretty muddy too. So probably some of the worst sort of things you can throw at a car, and the ceramic was holding up incredibly well, which is fantastic. This is just another angle with a low pressure rinse. So the ceramic was holding up well. It also doesn't seem to have mattered at all which part of the bonnet the ceramic had been adhered to. So the primer hadn't made a difference in its ability to stick on. This was done just yesterday, so March 26th, and I installed it on April the 2nd, almost a year ago. So there we go.
It works, doesn't it? Right? It doesn't degrade the ability for a ceramic coating to bond, or at least it didn't with Synergy Lite V2. I can't imagine it would with others either, but if you're going to do a longer term coating, I still think you're probably doing a more heavy correction. So you may want to not bother with this. You'd use a proper aggressive compound and polish system, and then panel wipe it afterwards, and then go with it. However, let me show you the improvement that you can actually get from this on paint. And the reason I say that is it wasn't very apparent on the white. So look at this car here. Now you can see that this goes from quite swirly to pretty good, and much better, much glossier than it was before. And that car had a full chemical decon and a very light clay, but no real correction, because this isn't a real correction product. Other use cases, I can think this would be great if you've got paint that is very difficult to finish down, or if you have been wiping off, so you've buffed off your polish residue and it's marking, you're panel wiping and it's soft and it's marking. You could go with this and you're just buffing this off and it leaves something behind, so it protects the paint a bit as well. It's super slick and the ceramic seems to bond to it. I think this is an incredible product and a bit of a game changer, really. It's not expensive. There's a link down to it in the description below. Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next one.